Welcome back. It's no secret that a reduction of input costs can have a positive impact on profitability. This is especially true when it comes to feed, one of the biggest expenses for any cattle producer. Reporter Brian Baxter has the latest on an ongoing research project that is working to develop the tools ranchers need to improve feed efficiency in their operations.
Sandhill Farms is a family-owned Hereford seedstock operation located in south-central Kansas. The Schultz family has been living on and working this land for the last 150 years, thanks in part to a focus on using the latest technology to help control costs.
It's basically the same thing as any business. It's doing more with less. It doesn't matter if we're in the livestock producing business or making automobiles. We need to do more with less, and that affects sustainability, that affects our profitability, and if we're not profitable, we can't be sustainable, and the two are glove in hand.
Beef producers understand the value of knowledge and spend lots of time and money evaluating the genetic potential of their cattle. Although research has made it possible to predict a handful of traits, producers want to be able to do the same for something like feed efficiency, which is not easy to see or measure.
You know, beef producers have greatly improved the population for traits like growth and calving ease and certainly for end product or carcass merit, beef quality, and those sort of things. Feed efficiency has largely been unmeasured in the beef industry.
Now that we begin to see a little bit more pressure put on prices, you know, input costs are going to be a huge part of profitability, and we all know that feed costs are one of the big components of that.
One group of researchers is working to expand what we know about feed efficiency. They're part of a USDA-funded project that worked to identify the genetic markers associated with feed intake, and from that information develop selection tools for feed efficiency.
The Feed Efficiency Project has been a 5-year, $5 million project funded through a USDA grant. And it's involved nearly 20 scientists at 9 different institutions across the United States with the goal of really building the genomic tools to improve feed efficiency in beef cattle here in the U.S.
The goal is to identify the genetic markers associated with feed intake across multiple breeds. Early on, many of the top breed associations recognized how valuable this research could be to their producers.
We were very excited to be a part of the National Feed Efficiency Project, a great collaboration of several breed associations and the top scientists across the U.S. Why it's so important for us to be involved in these projects is we couldn't do them by ourselves, the association independently, and so it's great to get involved in a collaborative effort for such an important trait.
As a breed association, I think it's always important to be able to collaborate with other people in the industry, whether it's other breed associations, certainly academics at the university level, and especially researchers from the U.S. Mark. You know, they're on the very cutting edge of any new technology, and it's vital to be able to interface with those people to stay current in the marketplace.
Phenotypic data had already been collected over the years on thousands of cattle representing multiple breeds. The researchers gathered those existing feed intake and composition records from the breed associations and then collected DNA samples from thousands of new animals.
When we want to build a new genetic evaluation for a novel trait like feed efficiency or feed intake, one of the first things we have to do is go out and gather a lot of phenotypic records. Tens of thousands potentially, depending on the trait. And our goal in the Feed Efficiency Project was to gather up somewhere between 8,000 and 9,000 individual animal feed intake records, which is a substantial undertaking. So without the collaboration of the breed associations and the producers and the academic institutions that were involved, there's no way we would have been able to gather up an adequate number of phenotypic and genotypic records for this project.
The results of this study have the potential to substantially improve the profitability of beef operations across all levels of the industry.
This project has been essential to the industry to get a repository of feed efficiency phenotypes that go along with genotypes in order for us to develop selection criteria, selection methods for feed efficiency in a multi-breed basis. Something that we can go back to time and again, a true research project that is structured to be useful for the industry for years to come.
I think the feed efficiency project will have a huge impact downstream on the commercial producers by making sure that the seed stock we produce for them is efficient. And that'll have a huge impact on their cow herds eventually as they're starting to keep back progeny out of more efficient animals.
Many cattle producers are taking notice of this study and are beginning to incorporate the technology into their own programs.
We're seeing more and more producers that actually are going to the effort and expense of collecting feed intake on their animals. And again, this project, by sort of illustrating the value of that, has incentivized and motivated some of our breeders that hadn't previously been able or been interested in collecting individual feed intake data to do so.
We've got the opportunity for a smaller breeder that's not normally going to have a contemporary group that he can collect those phenotypes on. He can suddenly demonstrate his feed efficiency prowess, and we can maybe find those exemplary bulls that don't have a large contemporary group that we might not have found otherwise.
The goal of the project was not to completely change the way producers evaluate cattle. Instead, these selection tools provide another useful way to help identify the most profitable and efficient animals.
Genomics are a tool. They're not the ultimate answer in a lot of ways, but they're a tool that we can use. We still need to have the cattlemen's knowledge of their business, of their environment, because the environment in western Kansas is different than either one of the coasts. And so we may need to know the genomics, but we still have to be able to apply it to the environment that we are in or our customers are in.
We can't be comfortable with the status quo. We're always looking to add more information and give our members and their customers more useful information to help them select animals that fit their production environment and meet consumer expectations.
We think certainly improvement in feed efficiency improves the profitability options and opportunities for producers in the chain, so animals that go through the feed yard that consume less feed and convert that into pounds of saleable high quality beef makes sense. It does a better job using the resources we're blessed with here in the United States and provides a high quality product for consumers here and around the world.
I'm Brian Baxter reporting for NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
To study up on the latest findings, go to the project's website at beefefficiency.org. And be sure to keep watching Cattlemen to Cattlemen for regular updates on the project.